Marriage is not easy, that's a fact. But marriages that fall apart isn't just because of the fights, the distance, or the silence. There's actually something deeper that no one talks about. And when you address this, you could actually save your marriage before it's late. And I'm going to walk you through what this is in this video. So the first thing you need to do if you feel like your marriage is falling apart is to not give up hope and get wrapped up in anxiety in worst case scenarios. Because if you do this, you're gonna stop trying to fix things and you'll just resign to the fact that this relationship is over. And this is such a mental thing, and it's this self-fulfilling prophecy. Even if things feel tense, I want you to hold on to hope. If you're still fighting, it means on some level you still care for each other. When people are truly done, they don't fight. They go cold, indifferent, and neutral. I had a client who came to me feeling like every fight meant it's the end of the relationship. But what she didn't realize is that those arguments actually meant she and her husband still care for each other. So I want to tell you, if you're still fighting with your partner, I see that as a good sign that there is a chance you can repair things. And if things are repaired, there's hope for your relationship. So if you're ready to leave the anxiety behind and hold on to hope, tap the like button right now. Let everyone know you're ready. Number 2, if your marriage is falling apart, you need to stop avoiding help and think you can fix this alone. If you've been reluctant to get proper support and help from a couples therapist, or a relationship therapist, now is the time. Please don't go to family members. You need to work with an expert who can either help you individually or both of you as a couple. Without help, you won't get far and you will not be able to fix the situation. I promise you. So let go of your ego, hopefully your partner will too, and realize there's something both of you need to look at and improve. Think about that time you and your partner tried to talk things out, but ended up in the same argument cycle. Sometimes I hear people say, my husband is not willing to come to therapy because he says there's nothing wrong with him and we can fix this on our own. But if you avoid therapy when you need help, I promise you those cycles will come back and they won't ever get resolved. You're just brushing things under the rug. If you want real change, you need to start therapy. If you've ever avoided help because of pride or fear, tap the like button now. Don't be embarrassed. This is such a common thing, but I want you to get over it and give you and your relationship a real chance. So if your marriage is falling apart, the reason it is falling apart is because of unmet emotional needs in your relationship. If you are at a point where things feel so tense in your marriage that there's the thought of separation or divorce, that tells me either you've neglected your partner's emotional needs, and most of the times it goes both ways. Maybe one or both of you, because of these unmet needs, have some built up contempt and resentment towards each other and your guards are up. But there is still a solution. You need to face what's not working and recognize your ability or inability to meet your partner's emotional needs. I actually have a video on how unmet emotional needs lead to resentment and contempt over time and how they're the main reason for divorce. You can watch the video on your screen now. For example, one of my clients felt resentful because her husband never listens to her when she talks about her struggles. In the meantime, her husband is feeling rejected because she'd stopped appreciating him and everything he does for the relationship. The little small things that he does on a daily basis to please her. So they both felt very unimportant, but neither of them knew how to ask for what they needed. They would either shut down or lash out in anger, making their partner feel so confused. So here are 3 questions you can ask that could save your marriage. From your partner's perspective, how would you answer these 3 questions? If your partner was here right now, and if I asked them, do you feel like you can share your most vulnerable thoughts with your partner? What would they answer? Would they say yes or no? If I also asked them, do you think you can count on your partner in times of needs? What would be the answer? A yes or a no? If I asked them, do you think like you matter to your partner? What would be the answer? Well, chances are, if you're both thinking of separating, the answer to most of these questions is probably no, I don't feel any of this. If the answer to these questions is a no, and you're still fighting, and you feel like you and your partner still care for the relationship, I'm telling you, you can still turn things around. If you want to learn more about some of the dynamics in your relationship that are not serving you, the dynamics that you need to change right away if you want to fix your marriage or relationship, I have a a great relationship test linked under this video. This is a test I give to my clients when they start couples therapy with me. It gives me a great overview of their relationship and things we need to work on in our sessions. And I'm sharing this with you for free. So feel free to download this test, do an assessment of your relationship, get an idea of the things you need to work on before you make any serious decision about your relationship. This test can tell you whether you should attempt and spend the effort to save your marriage, or whether it's best to cut your losses and head for a divorce. Now, if your marriage is falling apart, there's another thing you need to do that no one talks about. You can't be impulsive and act like an immature baby. Now, I know all of us have this inner child that just wants to like kind of lash out and express ourselves and just like get rid of these awful feelings. But if your marriage is falling apart, you need to really try hard to keep your emotions in check, especially angry feelings, impulsiveness, because these emotions are going to make things worse and fast track the demise of your marriage. So don't act based on emotions. Don't go after making other connections, thinking of alternatives. Don't say or do things you can't take back, especially when you're angry. You need to be able to self-regulate. If you can do that, your relationship has a real chance because you stop being reactive to everything your spouse says. And instead, I want you to tune into your partner's feelings and emotions and ask them what's making them feel dissatisfied to the point that they're considering separating from you or divorcing. For example, let's think about a couple. Maya, she'd get frustrated, often yell or threaten to leave when she was upset at her husband, and later she would regret it. As a therapist, I would work on pausing, helping her take a deep breath in these moments of overwhelm when she's flooded, and ask her to respond instead of reacting, to stop making things worse. This simple change is going to make a huge difference, and I see it all the time in my practice with the couples I work with. And when you respond this way to your partner, they'll respond in a more supportive and gentle way. Well, most of the time, but it's not guaranteed, but at least you're doing your part. So if you know your emotions have gotten the best of you before, tap the like button right now. And I'm telling you, we're all guilty of this because we're only human and we have emotions. And sometimes they can get out of hand. Now, the other thing you need to pay attention to, you need to stop sabotaging behaviors. So if you're going through a hard time right now with your partner, I don't want to see you talking with their family, talking behind their back, bad-mouthing them, blaming them in front of their family or friends and embarrassing them. Imagine venting to your mom every time your partner disappoints you. Instead of resolving issues with your partner or involving a therapist as the third party versus your mom, you will create more distance. This always happens when you involve others in your conflict with your spouse. Conflicts that need to stay between you and them. That's one way we sabotage our relationships when the relationship is already vulnerable. And people can't recover from these types of betrayals in a relationship. So that will stay forever in your relationship and will leave a mark. And you need to stop being entitled right now. So instead of focusing on your unmet needs in the relationship, if you truly want to save this relationship, you need to tune into your partner's feelings and accept that you've done something to hurt them and take accountability for it. Even if you know the reasons and what to do now, to take action, that's going to be the hardest part. If you want to learn how to truly rebuild trust, keep that connection and the love to save your marriage, I'm going to break down how you can do that in the next video on your screen.